Welcome and greetings, career-minded superstars. You are listening to the exclusive Career Coach, your podcast for all things career. And I'm Lisa Edwards, the indispensable career coach for superstars just like you. Now let's dig into this week's topic, shall we? Go from dragging yourself to work each day to finding a job you love. The Career Spring program is for high-achieving and ambitious mid-level professionals like you who are looking for a job that uses your zone of genius, recognizes your value, and pays you what you're worth. If you're ready to learn more, schedule a complimentary consult using the link to my calendar in the show notes. Be sure to follow me on Exclusive Career Coaching on Facebook, Lisa Edwards on LinkedIn, and Lisa.Edwards on Instagram. Greetings. How's it going? How's September? Hey, remember, we are doing a rate, review, and subscribe contest in September. So you still have a few days, if you're listening to this in real time, to enter. So you go to your podcatcher of choice. You can rate for 1 entry into the contest. Subscribe is 2 entries. And review gives you 4 entries. So if you do all 3 of them, you get 7 entries into the contest. The winner gets $250 gift certificate, a Visa card. And you want to email me at Lisa, Lesa, at exclusivecareercoaching.com to let me know that you're in there and that you did the thing. So I make sure I don't miss it. And I will be selecting the winner on Friday, September 30th at 5:00 p.m. Eastern. So I hope you'll do it. Recently, I was showing a client who wasn't very familiar with LinkedIn how to leverage my connections on LinkedIn. And she was kind of blown away. It sort of rocked her world because she kind of felt like she had found the Holy Grail. I thought I would share it with you guys in case you don't know how to do this. So what we're talking about here is mining your connections. All right. So let me get the lay of the land here for you. You have connections, people you already connected with, and those are called first level connections on LinkedIn. And those are the people you're already connected to. Each of those connections has connections, and LinkedIn calls those one-offs second level connections, right? So there's one person between, if, for example, you and I, if you get on LinkedIn and you and I are connected, then everybody that I'm connected to is your second level connection because you and I are first level connections. You have the ability to see all of your second level connections. Why would you want to do that? Because it really expands your network. So particularly if you don't have a lot of connections on LinkedIn or you're looking for someone who works at a very specific company, maybe in a very specific role, you are expanding the chances that you will find someone. So rather than just randomly reaching out to somebody, because you can do that, right? You can get on there and see who's the head of HR at this company that I'm interested in. But it's better if it's a second level connection because then you can say, hey, I see we're both connected to Lisa Edwards. Let's connect. You could also reach out to me and say, hey, would you mind introducing me to this person? And so you really are expanding your network. And conversely, that person who might be looking for someone with your skill set is going to be much more likely to reach out to someone who is a second level connection because what they might do first is, let's say I'm the person in the middle. They might reach out to me and say, hey, I see you're connected to Joe Blow. What do you think of him? You know, would he be a good fit based on what you know about my organization? So this really works both ways in terms of the second level connections and leveraging them. I've had over the years multiple clients that have leveraged my connections to obtain jobs. So I automatically connect with everybody that I work with. It's part of my in-processing. So I'm already connected to all of my clients. And so therefore, all of my 6,000 or so contacts are their second level connections. So in some cases, they've reached out to those people directly. And in other cases, they have asked me to make that connection. So how do you do this? So hopefully I've made a compelling case for what a good idea it is. So let's talk about how to do it. This is really using the advanced search function in LinkedIn. So you got that bar up at the top that you can put a name into, right? So if you're looking for Sue Smith, you can put that in there. But you can also do this advanced search using various filters. Now, I'm giving you the directions on how to do this as of September 2022. LinkedIn is known to change things, and who knows, but this is how you can do it right now. So go into that box and type people in the search bar, just the word people. And then you're going to get a series of options that pop up under the search bar. It'll say, people, companies, blah, blah, blah. I want you to go all the way over to the right and choose all filters. And once you do that, then you're going to see a bunch of options. So it'll say one option is, how connected are they? Are they your first level connections? Well, that's not what you're trying to do here. You're trying to mine your second level connections. So you're going to click the second box. And then it gives you the option to put in who, second level connection of who. Now, if you don't put anybody in there, you're going to get everybody's second level connection. So everybody that you're connected to. And depending on what you're searching on, that may work, right? So if you're trying to get a very, very specific result, you may want to open that connections box up and not put a specific person's name in there. But for most cases, and for the purposes that I'm talking about today, I'm going to invite you to we'll just use my name. So you would put in, second level connections. That's the first option. And then I'm going to put in connections of Lisa Edwards. And you are going to want to put in additional filters there, because otherwise you're going to get all of my 6,000 connections. So maybe you want to find somebody at Amazon. So you could put in second level connections of Lisa Edwards who currently work at Amazon. So there's a box for where does this person currently work? And then there's also a box for where has this person previously worked? So I would start with current. That's going to be more useful to you. And then you can see, how many results did I get? Well, did I get 400? Maybe that's too many. Did I get 0? That's not enough. So then I'm going to start playing with those filters to get a reasonable amount of connections. So do I want to take out Lisa Edwards' name and put in someone else's name? Do I want to leave out anybody's name so that I'm getting any second level connection of any of my connections that works at Amazon? And then maybe I'm going to put in a city. Maybe I want them to work in Amazon and Cincinnati. I have no idea if Amazon is in Cincinnati, by the way, but let's just use that for experience purposes. So I'm going to play with these filters to get a reasonable amount of results. So if I'm getting hundreds of results, that's too many. If I'm getting 0 or 2, I probably want to open those filters up a little bit. You can also, as I mentioned, use that geographic filter. So if I get a ton of results for Amazon, a big company like Amazon, then I'm probably going to want to do a geographic filter. So that's kind of how that works. You could also, by the way, if you were, let's say you wanted to move to Dallas and you want to see, who Lisa's really connected. Let's see who she knows in Dallas. Then you could just do second level connections of Lisa Edwards. And there's a geographic option there. So you could put in Dallas and it'll pop up the options. It'll probably say Greater Dallas Fort Worth area, and there'll be 2 or 3 different options that you could put for Dallas. So then you could kind of see, who does she know in that area? Maybe you don't know who the employers are there. You haven't started narrowing your search down, but you want to move it to Dallas. You could use it that way. Next is, what do you do next after you find these people? So once you've identified some target people, you can either reach out to them directly or ask the mutual connection, in this case, for the example, we're talking about me, to introduce you. So if you were going to ask me, you would say, hey, do you know so-and-so well? I see you're connected to Sue Smith. Do you know her well? And I'm either going to say, yeah, I know her real well, or I don't actually know her personally. And in that case, you'd probably just reach out to them directly. If you reach out directly, I would recommend saying something like this. I see we're both connected to Lisa Edwards. Let's connect. That's all. I'm not going to talk about what I'm looking for, what I want from them, what I'm hoping they'll do for me, because it might scare them off. It might come across as being too salesy. I go in, as I've mentioned before, to LinkedIn a few times a week, and I look at who has asked me to connect with them. And if they're trying to sell me something before I've ever connected with them, I generally do not connect, because it just, quite frankly, pisses me off. Once they've accepted your invitation to connect, then I recommend thanking them with a message like this. Thanks so much for connecting. Lisa said you really love working at, or Lisa said you've been very successful at, or Lisa, encouraged me to reach out to you, something, whatever's true, right? And she suggested I reach out to you with my questions about Was it working at the company? Is it working in a certain department? Is it a certain project? Whatever it is. Would you have a few minutes to jump on Zoom with me? That's one option, is a Zoom call. Maybe it's, would you be willing to meet me for a coffee? You really have to judge it based on a lot of factors, right? But certainly one option would be a Zoom call. And from here, your goal is to have some specific questions for this person. So whether it's on Zoom or it's in person, you want it to take about 15 minutes, and you really want to honor that, right? So you could say in that initial email, would you have 15 minutes to jump on a call with me? And then really respect that. Now, if the person wants to keep talking when the 15 minutes are up, that's one thing, but you don't want to hold them up past that 15 minutes. And as you wind up the conversation, you want to say, who else should I talk to about employment at Amazon? Who should I talk to about working in the marketing department? Whatever your goal is. And you want to hopefully ask them to introduce you to those people. So ask them if they would be willing to make an introduction. And then, of course, follow up with a thank you email. I really enjoyed meeting with you yesterday. Thank you so much for your time. So bottom lining it for you here is you have an opportunity to expand your network considerably by looking to see who your connections are connected to. And you can search for them very specifically using the advanced search function, which is up at the top of when you go to your profile, it's up at the top. You'll see the search bar with a little magnifying glass in there. And use this as an opportunity to add those people to your connections. So you're expanding your network, because then, of course, you're going to be able to see all of their connections. So you're doing the same thing ongoing. You want to continue to expand your network by asking people you network with, who else should I be talking to about this? And you want to follow good etiquette in this process with thank you notes. You want to make sure that your wording in your email doesn't sound like you expect them to get on a Zoom call with you. You're being very courteous. Would you be so kind as to? Would you have a few minutes? Would you be willing to? As opposed to something like, I want to jump on a call with you, or something that's very presumptuous. And this should really help you with your networking efforts. So I hope this does. Don't forget, rate, review, subscribe before September 30th, and I'll see you next week. Take care.
You've been listening to The Exclusive Career Coach with Lisa Edwards, CEO of Exclusive Career Coaching. It would be great if you would rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Also, I want to be your career coach, so be sure to ask questions about your career management challenges and job search situation. Until next time.